Hello, everyone, and welcome to Global District BJ. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for the support. We're going to be talking about the rescued children from the underground building in Alabama right now. So kids were actually rescued from a building, and those kids have been there for a year. So let's watch these videos. Credits to the owners of the video. As I come back with the commentary, this is a must-watch video for you because it's so emotional. That's why I'm putting on these glasses right now. I don't want you to see my tears. So if you have not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. I'll be back with the commentaries. Thank you.
Okay, breaking news. Police have just uncovered something truly horrific in Alabama, and this is getting way too little coverage. They discovered a freaking underground bunker with multiple children being held in there for over a year. Bro, the oldest was 10 years old. The youngest was only 3 years old. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, police have arrested three men, all in their 20s, and they've been charged with the R word, I can't even say it on here, kidnapping and human trafficking. Authorities say that the children were held in a storm shelter near the men's homes and were routinely drugged, tied to beds or poles, and sold off to be exploited by clients. I mean, all you can say is a big freaking well done to all of the authorities who worked on this case.
It has not been a good week for kids in Alabama. It's been a really hard week. It's been a hard week, especially when it comes to foster care in Alabama. So earlier this week, a story came out that's now made national news about a child bunker in a small town in Alabama that had been running for a year and involved children, very young children, ages like 3 to 10. And this bunker was like a storm shelter that had been converted. It's just horrific. The details of it, I don't think I would have even thought it was real if SVU or Criminal Minds had come up with it. Like that's the level of awfulness it is. And they've arrested 7 adults so far. Going to be a lot more. But these kids were not kidnapped off the street. These kids were not stolen from their very loving parents. In fact, it was their parents who were selling them. And the details that have come out are just nightmare-inducing. You think this can't be possible, that parents would do this. And it breaks my heart to think about those kids now going into DHR custody, because not only are they, having to deal with everything that happened to them, and thankfully they were medicated and drugged for most of the incidents that happened to them. Doesn't mean that they won't remember, doesn't mean that they didn't suffer trauma because of it. They did. And it went on for a very long time. They said that these people were selling them for $200 like each time. Each person, each disgusting person that they sold them to was $200. And they said these people were making like $1,000 a day on these kids. $1,000. And I'm sorry, it's the most overwhelming, like, horrific thing to think that a parent could do that to their child, multiples of their children. And I look forward to more arrests. I look forward to, like, breaking all of these people, all of these things that are going on, like putting them all out in the open. But I also think about these kids and the trauma that they're going to have to overcome. Not only the trauma of everything that happened to them, but the trauma of losing their family all in a day. As terrible as their parents are, it's all they ever knew. And now they're gone because they've been arrested. So understanding those kids are going to be going through so much, kind of processing all of that. And then another story came out about a 3-year-old little boy who was in DHR custody, so he was in foster care. And he had a transporter come to pick him up. His transporter was supposed to pick him up from daycare, take him to visit his dad. Transporters in Alabama are usually like third party. So sometimes when a social worker or a caseworker can't pick up the child, or a foster parent can't transport them to either a visit or an appointment, they have a third party transporter that is contracted, and they take the child to visits, take the child to appointments, therapy appointments, whatever it may be. It's really common in my state. And this transporter picked him up from daycare, dropped him off with his dad for a visit, then was supposed to take him back to daycare, only instead of taking him back to daycare, she drove home. And she left him in the back of the car for 6 hours. He did not survive. He was 3 years old. He was in foster care, so his foster parent went to pick him up from daycare, and he wasn't there. And that's how she found out that he was abandoned, alone, in the back of a stranger's car after visiting with his dad. And it's so hard because you look at things like this and you're like, how does it happen? How do we prevent it from happening again? How do we fix it? But there's just no time to do any kind of deep research or retrospective into the why because you're so busy going off to the next thing, the next crisis, the next kid who needs you. And so it's hard to just kind of sit and go, well, what are they doing to fix it? And the answer is there's very little that they can do. You know, when you don't have enough transporters, you contract it out. Do they need better training? Probably. How do you prevent things like this? How do you continue to offer the services that these kids are supposed to have when it comes to visits and therapy, while also making sure that they're safe getting there and back? So I think about the poor foster parents. I think about the poor biological family who had to find out in a horrific way, not only like, did you not have custody of your child, but a stranger was responsible for their death. And that has to be overwhelming for that family. And my heart breaks for them because none of this was their choice. None of this was in their control. And that's so hard to imagine. But just keep my state in your prayers. This is a hard week. It's a hard week to look at our kids in this state and think that we're doing the best job by them. It's hard to say that when you have a week like this.
All four of these motherfuckers, I want y'all to remember these faces because these was the motherfuckers that had a bunker in Alabama filled with kids. At least 6 kids, aging from 3 to 10 years old, was taken to this bunker and drugged. And investigators say that there are multiple suspects accused of paying to sexually abuse these children. Now, allegedly, they claim that the kids was being held down here against their will. Like, I really hope they throw the book at these motherfuckers. 3 of the 4 suspects are being held on multiple counts of first-degree rape, multiple accounts of first-degree human trafficking. 2 out of the 4 gentlemen are being held on multiple counts against kidnapping. I really hope they throw the book at these motherfuckers. Now, under Alabama law, any suspect that is convicted of having a case with a minor 6 years or younger is automatically life in prison. Like, seriously, how could some motherfuckers do some shit like this?
Let me tell y'all parents something I know y'all ain't gonna like to hear right now, but just listen to me. Now is not the time to be trying to be your kid's friend. You get what I'm saying? Let me tell you what just happened. They found kids in a bunker in Alabama. Come on now, kids. When I say stop being your kids' friends, I mean like, when it's time to come in the house, it's time to come in the house. When you tell them they can't hang around somebody, they can't hang around somebody. Because there's people out here in the world, bro, that don't care and they waiting to catch somebody like you slipping. All that letting your kids spend the night at people's house you don't know, cut it out. All them mysterious phone calls, staying up on the phone all night with people you don't know, cut it out. Get your kids to introduce you to their friends, man. Get them to introduce you to anybody that they feel like they know and keep them out of harm's way. Now is not the time, bro. Now is not the time. I keep my son in the house. I'm telling you, I don't care. He 5 years old, and I be damned if somebody find him in a bunker in Bibb County.
Photos from inside of the bunker where the children were being taken to have been released. Take a look at this. Take a look at how this is pitiful. This is absolutely pitiful and horrific. Authorities have now identified 10 victims between the ages of 3 and 15. It is just hard to imagine that children as young as 3 years old were taken down into this damp, freaking nasty place. Look at that bed. And horrible things were done to them. They were rugged, tied to poles. I mean, you name it, it probably happened to these children. Here are the 7 people who so far have been arrested in connection to this. The first 3 over here are the newest ones to be arrested. Some of the children's parents were the offenders in this situation. Can you imagine a child begging for help and the person that is supposed to help and protect them always is the one doing? The offenders would allegedly arrange and pay for what they described as appointments. Investigators have reasons to believe that this all began in 2022. This is an incredibly hard case to cover, to talk about, but it has to be talked about. The children deserve justice, and, I mean, they lived it, so the least we can do is help spread awareness for it. Authorities are now trying to discover if suspects may have came from outside of Bibb County or Alabama to come to this bunker. According to authorities, all of the Terrells here are related, allegedly, and Andres and Rebecca have 3 children they share together and a child that Rebecca has from outside of their relationship. According to AL.com, Sarah allegedly used a animal training collar with shocking capabilities on a child or children. The details are absolutely horrific. They were allegedly making the victims do stuff to each other. They were allegedly, according to AL.com, taught how to do those things to one another by William. During the press conference, it was revealed that they made up to $1,000 a night having people come and do this. They were just doing all of these horrific things, allegedly, like Andres was allegedly selling photos of the victims. The Timothy St. John was allegedly doing all the horrific things to the children and a dog.
Are we not going to talk about what just happened in Alabama? We might as well talk about it because it's not even on CNN or Fox News or anything. Police there found a bunker in a house where multiple children were being held. The youngest was 3 years old. 4 men have been arrested. These kids were AR'd, they were drugged, they were beaten, they were trafficked, they were sold off to clients to do horrible things to them. We already as a nation knew there was crazy stuff going on in Alabama, but this is the icing on the cake. It's disgusting how little they're even talking about this. Stuff like this, every time I want to get a little bit compassionate towards humanity, stuff like this happens. And you know what? It just sends me the complete other way. Because I'm all for capital punishment. I don't believe all lives matter. Because guess what? Those 4 dudes, their lives definitely don't matter. Because what they did to those children is so disgusting that they deserve to be put into some sort of arena where the public's allowed to go there and do whatever the heck they want to them. Capital punishment isn't enough for these people. They need to suffer before we put them to sleep.
So I'm here with breaking news, and this is horrible news, but also good news. 6 children, all under 10 years old, was just rescued in Bibb County, Brent, Alabama. 3 men were arrested, all in their 20s. And what these men have done over the past year, these men held these 6 kids, with the oldest being 10 years old, the youngest at 3 years old, in a underground bunker near their homes, where they've tied these children to beds and poles and sold them to their clients to have whatever way they want with them for the past year. Listen, these are children that, if you're in Alabama and even neighboring states, you could have possibly seen these children show up on an Amber Alert. And for some reason, this news is not being spread or highlighted as it should, because as you know, here in America, we prioritize everything else besides our babies. So yeah, once again, Bibb County, Brent, Alabama, 6 children were just rescued from what people are calling the bunker of hell, because that's what they've been going through over the past year.
This is where authorities say 6 children, the youngest only 3 years old, were victimized repeatedly over more than a year. It's an underground storm shelter near the home of William Chase McElroy, one of the men charged with raping and sodomizing the children, as well as kidnapping and human trafficking.
Inside the storm shelter, there were chairs and beds and things of that nature. And the children were drugged by Mr. Trejos and tied to the bed and to the chair and to a pole. And then people would come and pay money to have sex with these children.
Assistant District Attorney Brian Jones says there could be more victims and more alleged perpetrators. He says the grand jury has indicted a 4th person, but he can't release that name because that person hasn't been arrested yet. But he says we may never know the full extent of the horrors that happened here.
There are some allegations with individuals that we will have a hard time identifying just because we don't know their names. And the children were drugged, according to one of the co-defendants, and so they may not be able to recognize or be able to identify anyone.
Jones says many of these details came from some of the defendants themselves. This has been a tough case for investigators and prosecutors, one they've been looking into since the first of the year.
It absolutely infuriates me, but we have to kind of put that aside and just do the job. That's all we can do.
It could be some comfort to investigators and authorities to know that the crimes these defendants are charged with come with a minimum mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
This is so pathetic. This is so insane. No child on earth should go through this. I am so angry. My heart is heavy, right? Seeing this, I don't know. I used to have a perception about America. I used to feel America is a place where, kids are even very safe on the streets. I really have never imagined or see America as a place where children could be, kidnapped, S.As for a year. And to hear that some of those kids, that their parents willingly took them there, is very, very sad. That your parents actually took you there. Probably they were using you to get money, right? I don't know what it is, but whatever the reasons are, they're not valid. as far as I'm concerned, is invalid. It is not acceptable at all. And this will live with those kids forever. It doesn't matter the psychiatric whatever or the physiotherapy or whatever therapy it is. These kids have been tampered with. Do you know what it means to say that a 3-year-old child that is supposed to be at home, being babied and filled with so much love by the parents and family members, at that age is already somewhere, and then they're doing the unimaginable to them? It hurts me so much, and it hurts me that I really do not even want to think that people's children are going through this for real. And from growing up, I always had this dream that I would like to have a home, a care home where parents who don't want those kids can actually bring them to me, because I have so much passion for kids. Do not do anything bad to any child. I will come for you. That is me. I don't know, probably in my past life, I don't have a child. I don't know if there's anything like a past life. I don't know, but I have children have a very special place in my heart. And so I am actually going to do that. I'm looking at really, really doing that very soon. In my lifetime, I will. It might not be now, but I will definitely. If I'm blessed, I'm going to make sure I go around and look for those kids who are not wanted and take them to myself and make them my kids and care for them in a home where they can go to school, where we can mark rosters to know where any of them have been to. It's so sick to hear that things like this are going on. And I just wish that every other person who is involved with this will not just go scot-free, to be honest. And I'm very sure that there are still more kids that are going through this, right? That have still not been found. Please, if you're watching my video, please, for the sake of God and for the sake of humanity, treat every child well, whether they are yours or not. Let's save our children, please. They are the future of tomorrow. If 50% or 30% kids were raised or are raised under this condition, you can imagine this kind of future we're looking at. You can imagine the kind of broken children that we'll have in years to come. No child should go through this, please. It's so painful, right? I want to see your comments in the comment section. And if you have not subscribed, please kindly do subscribe, like, share this video so that it will get to people, because some people are actually doing this and they think, oh, it's something they can actually use for business. So let's create this awareness so that people can come to know that it is actually wrong, right? It is sick. It is sick for someone to even do this in the first place. Thank you so much for being with just Global Gist with BJ, right? Do not forget to stop being bold. Always speak up at every time. And I'll be back with the next one. Thank you so much.